Peace, everybody. Welcome to another segment of Masterminds Monday. I'm your host, Felicia Tara Elanu, and we are also here with our other hosts, Brother Damon Rawl.
Greetings. Greetings.
So peace. Welcome back, because I know you weren't here last week, so everyone, of course, misses you from the previous week, but it's good to have you back.
Yes, good to be back. Good to be back.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tonight, before we begin, I just wanted to make a few announcements. Again, the alchemy webinar is only 2 days away, so it's on 11/11. So make sure you definitely come and check out that, because it's going to be a part of pretty much the series finale of the webinar series that we had going on this year, starting from like the end of the summer or this fall, pretty much. So you'll learn about herbs, oils, and alchemy, and how you can take your spiritual practice to the next level using the elements of nature. So you definitely want to check that out. And then you can register today. You can go to a couple places. Go to saduluhouse.com/events, as well as our main parent hub, which is idnation.org. And that's where all of our, pretty much everything in the world of Anu is on idnation.org, including our store, the Alpha Omega store. So definitely come out to the Alpha Omega store. That's where we have a lot of new products we have. And the store is pretty much like your one-stop shop for your spiritual and self-development needs. So we have everything from books, DVDs, to classes, spiritual services, and that's also where you can also register for our events there as well. And definitely check out our blog, because we love giving out a lot of information. So you can read some excellent articles, as well as, you know, see what you need. And excuse me. Also, let us know if you are looking for something that you can't find, because we do pride ourselves in carrying sometimes hard to find products for our students who are pretty much across the globe. And we know sometimes something simple like a black candle is hard for someone in South Carolina to get. So the Alpha Omega store is your hub for that, as well as if you attend the webinars. A lot of the products for the rituals will be in the store as well. So definitely check us out, and that's alphaomegastore.com. Now tonight we are again carrying on a theme that we've been doing for the past few weeks. And again, I do the medicine cards with the Eye of Haru reading. So that's if you go to Alpha Omega Store, idonation.org, and you click on the spiritual consultation. I do the life path readings, the spiritual wealth reading, I believe the mini life path reading, which is a new one, as well as 30-minute consultations. And one of the oracles I use a couple, but one of the cards I use is the medicine card. And I love medicine cards because, one, I love animals and I love nature. And this system is a native system, and it teaches you pathways to power through the teachings of nature and animals. So again, it's not something simple as people can ask anything you want to ask, but I always have to rephrase the questions in a way that you can get the most powerful impact and receive back. Because these cards, you know, I have to respect my cards. I can't ask, you know, me and my boyfriend be back tomorrow. You can't ask stuff like that. You know, we can ask stuff like, what's the energy governing your relationship? So you can get an overall view and get real insight. So similar for this, we've been doing pulling the cards. I've been pulling a card every week, because we decided to do it a little different. Instead of us just saying what we want to talk about, we felt, again, this is about business and spirituality. So let's see what the people need to hear. And we divine. And for this week, the card that came up was the dragonfly. And when I think of dragonfly, I think of my childhood. I don't know about you, Damon. I've always loved looking at dragonflies and lightning bugs when I was a kid. And I just thought they were very magical. Like, I love the colors of the dragonfly. And that magical part of it, too, is a part of what it represents. But the main theme through the system that it speaks about, because these cards, the animals in these cards, have so many layers to them, where you can't go on but so much. It depends on how they are depicted in your particular reading. But for tonight, we're going to focus on illusion, because that is one of the main subjects that this card speaks to. And just to give you some idea of the dragonfly again, it speaks to change as well. It speaks to illusion, change, and personal power. And just the studying, if you just look at the dragonfly itself, it's constantly like shifting its color. It changes its energy. It's form, it moves, it's very magical. Looking at this, just studying it, just looking at it. Um, so it speaks to that type of like transcending this world beyond this reality that we think is real, and getting to the real, uh, what is really real. You know, that soul essence and that spiritual realm that is where our true essence resides. Now, Dragonfly helps us to break these illusions that we have in our lives by providing us with visions of power. And by visions of power, that's speaking to basically truth, just plain good old fashioned truth. So an illusion isn't something simply just as, oh, you know, you look in the mirror and you look skinnier than what you really are. We're talking about real uh, problematic illusions that restrict you from making the changes in your life. Because again, the changing, the constant changing of the dragonfly is trying to teach you that you need to constantly change and evolve and move forward. That's what nature does. Just look out the window every single day. It's constantly changing. The seasons, it's daytime, it's nighttime. So you're supposed to learn from this. You're not supposed to be stagnant, and you're supposed to constantly be evolving and changing. Now, that's ultimately what he tries to teach us. You know, it's one of the major lessons is to kind of break down these illusions that you've held inside of you and in your life that, you know, are holding you back, or holding your actions, or holding your ideas back. Now, some examples of that can be when you relate to business. You know, I'll never be happy until I have my own business. You know, or you have a business. I'll never be happy until, you know, I make $1 million in my business. And although you are being very successful with your current business, you still have this longing and this desire. You know, if I'm not making $1 million, then I'm never going to be happy. Or, you know, say you're successful in a different career, but for some reason you keep feeling like, oh, if I don't ever have my own business, I'm a total and complete failure. Now, it's a difference between an illusion and an aspiration. Now, you know, as these things I mentioned, they're not bad things at all to want in life. They're actually very, you know, aggressive, or very prosperous and good goals for somebody, you know, depending on where you are in your life. However, the thing is to understand what is an illusion for you. So something that is an aspiration, for instance, is something that you can actually work towards it becoming in a reality. You know, so something that, okay, I really want to do this. I'm going to work towards it. I'm going to actually get it done. So say, for instance, it's the business. Okay, so you are starting your business. You got to register. You studied whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's on your own, you went to school, and you set up shop. Now, the illusion of that would be you went to school to become a professor. And you're you're a professional professor. You're well renowned. You're very successful, but it's something in the back of your mind that keeps saying, "Oh, I'm never going to be happy until I have my own business. Although I'm very successful and have everything else I really want and need in life, if I don't have this thing, I won't be happy." So an illusion is more of like an unconscious, like longing, and the dragonfly comes into your life to kind of advise you to uncover where these illusions come from. So, for instance, in that example, it could possibly be, you know, a parent that told you, you know, when you grow up, you have to have your own business, you know. So maybe you internalize someone else's expectations and put them on yourself. So you clearly don't want to have your own business because you didn't do a single thing to work towards having it. You went to school to be a professor, but it's just thing that's nagging at you, you know, all through your life, where you feel like, you know, guilty about. And the key is to uncover again that those powers, visions of truth. So the truth of the matter may be, you know, when you get to know who you really are at the core of you, is that, okay, I'm not really a business person. I'm really into education, and that's why I became a professor. I just felt bad about not living up to my father's expectations. You know, so the dragonfly comes to you to, again, help you to achieve success, whether it's business or in your personal life, so that you can kind of break these facades. You know, whether it's from business to, you know, I'm never going to be happy unless I have a baby. I'm never going to be happy unless I get married. Any type of something that you just had this pensive longing for that doesn't seem to materialize. It may be something that's not really for you. it may be something that's not something that you really want. It may be something that you've internalized and you think you should have, or you think you should want, you know. So that's kind of what the dragonfly kind of, flies into, your reading, or in this sense, the broadcast, to kind of share with us. Because when we pull these cards again, like I've always shared, it's something that somebody needs to hear, and that's one of the biggest things that the dragonfly wants you to. Again, it speaks to change, illusion, and power. For you to accept your personal power and not live in misery, living up to what someone else thinks that you should be. You should be what it is that that soul is telling you that you should be, whether it makes sense to anyone else or not. That's what the dragonfly kind of speaks to you. Just trying to speak to you when it surfaces. So that's what really resonated with me. So, Brother Damon, do you have anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, well, you hit on a lot of good things. I think when we talk about the illusion of being, there's this whole thing of I'll be happy when and dot dot dot, and you talked about it a little bit, but I'll be happy when I hit this, or things will be better when this situation changes in my life. And I think the truth is that whole someday I heard a guy say it, I can't even remember what book it was, but it might have been Les Brown. And he said, be happy where you are and still desire to do more. So it's nothing wrong with being happy where you're at. Like, hey, this is who I am. Because the reality of where you are, everything in you got you to where you are today. And that's okay. And if you want to be more or do more, then just, go to work, but don't live in the space of not appreciating where you are. Because if you don't appreciate where you are, then you're always living in the future. And if you're living in the future, then you don't enjoy the gift of today. So we've got to, because a lot of people live in that space. They go, this house is cool, but it'd be cooler if I had a bigger house. Or it'd just be, it'd be cooler if I need another car. Well, you have a perfectly good car now. You got a perfectly good working car. Well, it'd be better if I had the new Mercedes, Well, you already have a Mercedes. What does the new one even change anything? And then it just becomes a vehicle anyway, So that whole, well, my life would be better if and you see people chase things, and you see it in the spiritual sciences. Well, I used to be this, but now I'm this. And so it's this whole chasing because things are going to get better. I'm going to figure it out, So I would say be happy where you are and don't chase the illusion that tomorrow would be different if you got the thing that you wanted to go get anyway. What's the guarantee that it's going to be different? There is no guarantee. And that's the problem. Is so we live on this hope and prayer of, tomorrow's going to be different. So when I do go get this thing, things are going to change for me. No, things won't. Things will be the way they are now, and you won't be satisfied, and you'll desire something better or something different tomorrow. And this cycle will continue. And that's what happens. It's, I think in Buddhism, they call it chasing hungry ghosts, where you, like, right after you eat. Have you ever sat down and, like, ate a big meal, and then you, like, 5 minutes later, you're like, man, I'm hungry. I want something else.
Yes.
Yeah, that feeling is called chasing a hungry ghost. And that ghost is an illusion. It's an illusion that you want more food. You don't need more food. You just had a big plate of food. But something in your mind is telling you need more, and things are going to be better if you just go get another plate or another piece of chocolate cake. You don't need the chocolate cake. You just had a piece of chocolate cake. 2 pieces of chocolate cake are not going to make any difference. And they're going to make a difference in your waistline. But
I'm about to say, well, yeah, make a little difference.
I mean, they're going to hurt your heart and stuff, maybe instead of eating 2 pieces, you should eat a half of a piece of chocolate cake, right? You know. So, but the illusion of tomorrow, the illusion of better, different, not good enough, and then there's another piece to the illusion piece, and I've kind of been reflecting on this lately, is the social circle you live in. So, and I guess the best way to describe it is sort of like high school. So in high school, you got these different cliques, right? So you might be with the cool kids, or you might be with the sports, the jocks, you might be with the nerds, whatever. So you live in a certain social class, and so there are expectations in that social class. You know, you're a nerd, so you're not supposed to be good at sports, or you're sports, so you're not supposed to be smart because you're in sports. So why are you reading books, dude? Chill out. You know what I mean? But the point is, I'm trying to make is we have to be careful in that social class about the illusion of expectations. Because because I'm this way, I'm supposed to be different. You know, oh, I'm supposed to be driving this kind of car. I'm supposed to be going to this type of place, or I'm supposed to be eating it. You know, people, what are people going to think? That's when you always hear people say, well, what are people going to think if they see me do this? And, you know, those are the people who bought into the illusion. Because they can't, you know, they say, oh, well, I lost everything. And what are my friends going to think? Or just like you said, the professor, you got a person who is born of educators, or a business person who's born of business people. And then his parents go, well, you're supposed to be an entrepreneur just like us. And he goes, no, I don't want to be like you guys. I want to be an educator. That's my thing. I want to be an educator. I don't want to live in that space of entrepreneurship. But because of the social environment, etc., they may think that you may think that you're supposed to be. No, you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be who you are. And so you got to tear down the illusions of class, etc., and just be who you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So that's my 2 cents. I got 5 cents still, but you know, I'll drop it right there though. It just
that was excellent point. It made me think of 2 things as well. Like how you were saying, you know, we constantly strive for. I remember it's a commercial back in the day, and I'm sure I'm dating myself because I don't watch too much TV. But it was a commercial where it was like a black background, and they show a woman in a wedding dress. It's like, oh, you don't like your wife? Get a new one. Oh, you don't like that car? Get a new one. You know, it was just going down the line of things that, like, everything was just so disposable in our pursuit to find things that make us happy, whether it's people to like objects. And, you know, like you said, it makes me think of some Buddhist stuff that I read like years ago, where a lot of our pain and suffering comes from our desire, you know, constantly wanting, but never being in the moment and happy with certain where you are or who you are, how you are, you know. And I like studying, observing people. I like biographies and celebrity stories because we always assume that they had it so easy. So I always like to hear some of their background stories, and a lot of them have some crazy backgrounds. But it just goes to show you how, you know, we kind of always think that we need to be something. And a lot of, when I was saying I'm studying the biographies of people, a lot of the stars that were successful were the ones who didn't feed into what others said they needed to be. Like, say, for instance, even when I was reading something on like Whoopi Goldberg before, had a really interesting past. And it was like right before she was going on stage. This was before she was like famous. She had some one woman show, and they were saying, whatever you do, don't do that one skit, because such and such is going to be in the office, in the audience, and such, you know, is going to be there. Like, all these high profile celebrities were there. Like, well, whatever you do, don't do that one skit, because it was kind of like, I guess they were trying to say it's like kind of ghetto, like low class. Just don't do it. So she was telling a story how, you know, she was just herself, and at the end they just all loved it. People like Michael Jackson were there, Quincy Jones, and people were like, we want more, give us more. And they were like, well, I have one story left, but I don't know if I should do it. And they were like, do it. And of course she does it, and they love it. And that's how she got her first major film, you know, because she impressed a movie producer in the audience, and just being who she was, you know, although people said don't do that, she got, you know, a major part. So, which is so many stories like that I was reading of certain celebrities when they were told not to be who they are, and when they were, that's when they actually blossomed and became, you know, they went. Some of them went through some trials and tribulations, but ultimately they were redeemed and, you know, found a lot of success just by maintaining who and what they, you know, staying true to who they are. So I think that was one of the key things too that the dragonfly tries to teach us, because when this card is upside down, that is basically what it does speaks to. It speaks to you know, giving yourself energy, you know, not always taking what everyone else tells you you should be, what you should be, and how you should be. And it speaks to people being miserable, because again, this card is upside down, so it's someone who may not be a little happy because they have given up their personal power to someone else or something, and not trusted in that voice that's saying, well, you know, you don't really like this, but you know, you're not really like that. Like, why are you trying to mold yourself into something that you're really not? And i.e., you're now miserable. You know, so this is what it kind of speaks to, like you thinking you'd be happier, that happy thing again, if you did it someone else's way. So that's just one way it kind of speaks to in being who you are. But on another level, like you said, it's just always wanting things that you think, like material things or even status things that you think can make you happy. And again, that takes me back to The Millionaire Next Door. So that book, it's always stuck with me. How those millionaires became millionaires by living well beneath their means. So like you were saying, oh, you have a perfectly good car, but you're like, yeah, I need a new one. You know, this lease is up. It's 2 years later. Let's get a new one. You know, or you have a perfectly good apartment or whatever, and oh, let's just buy this mega mansion. You know, I used to love HGTV, and I would see like single people buying like 6-bedroom houses. Like, I need this much space. Like, you don't have anything bigger, because I like to entertain. It's like, what? You're one person. Like, how are you going to fill that up with furniture? And, you know, but whatever. People do what they want to do. But the thing is that when you think you need these things in order to be happy, that's when you're buying into an illusion. You know, when you have a longing for something that may have never materialized in your life yet, that may be a pensive, you know, longing for some illusion and some expectation that may have come from somewhere else. So that's what this card comes up, is trying to teach you to kind of figure out where that happened, like what triggered in you that made you feel like you won't be happy until you have this thing or that thing. You know, kind of like do some backtracking to see where did that come from? Because if you've never taken a step to work towards it, then it is an illusion. And I mean, like, really work towards it. Because I've been going on dates, I've been doing this, but are you really preparing yourself for, you know, a family if that's what you want? Are you really preparing yourself for your own business if that's what you really want? You know, and I mean, like, seriously, like, you know, deep down inside if you are or if you aren't. So that's what is trying to show you, that to distinguish between an illusion and something that's an aspiration. Because aspiration is more conscious. You're really working towards it. You're not sitting around all day saying, you know, I want a business, and you're not even studying or watching anything that helps you to learn more about business. You're just saying, yeah, I want to have my own business, or I should have my own business, because like you were saying, oh, my dad had his own, my mother had her own, so I guess I should too, although you want to be an artist. So be an artist, you know. So that is, you know, kind of what the dragonfly wants you to understand. So again, when it's business, you know, it's the same thing. Kind of really think about this. Are you really an entrepreneur? Are you really into business? If not, don't feel guilty about it. Maybe it's just not for you. Maybe you may be drawn to other people that are like that, but maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you should be doing something else. So that's what this is talking about. And then maybe if you do have your own business, like Damon said, with the apartment example, okay, so maybe you have a nice place. You don't need a mega mansion. Maybe you have a nice business that's making, you know, 6 figures. Maybe that's okay. $1 million may not be yours to have. I remember I was watching Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban was on there, and I forgot what the couple was. The couple had a business. It was doing very well. They were making $250,000 or something like that. And they
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, they were like new. I'm like, wait, you haven't been out for like years and years and years? Nope. So he was like, okay, so what's the, well, big deal if you go home making $900,000 a year? Like, what's the big deal? Like you like, you're a new company, you shouldn't like, give equity away so early in your business. Just be okay making $900,000 for now. Come back later, but right now just be okay. If this is what you want to do and don't want to change it, everyone doesn't need to be mega businesses overnight. So that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, $900,000, one kid. I forgot where they lived. I'm like, you're doing pretty okay, but they wanted more. We gotta have more. We gotta have more.
Yeah, and if you notice something, and the reason I watched that show, I remember that one. But one of the things that they said early on, which they keyed in on, and that's why nobody really wanted to invest with them, is because they said it was a lifestyle business for them. So they wanted to chill out. They actually didn't want to be super huge, a multinational company. They wanted to be small because that money was lifestyle money.
Yep.
Nigga, that was money. That was chill out money. That was enjoy your life money. And $900,000 take home is pretty nice. Chill out money.
I'm like, that was nips. Selling, I think it was like, was it the Nerd Wax or something? Selling some wax, something so simple. Like the profit margin was ridiculous. Oh, it takes us 38 cents to make this thing. We sell it at $12. We sold over 10,000 units in 1 month. I'm like, what are you doing there? Like, be happy. So like you were saying, like you could tell their actions, they weren't really like, it was a lifestyle business. They weren't really trying to be a mega business, but they felt they should be, since they're thinking like, okay, look at all this money we're bringing in. But maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just be happy with, like Mark Cuban told them, you $900,000 a year. What's the big deal? Everybody can't be a Mark Cuban, but you can still be happy with whatever it is that you are aspiring towards. And when you find that, you will find immense peace. So again, that's when I do the spiritual wealth readings. A lot of the times I do share that, so people don't think, okay, what card is going to tell me when I'm going to make $1 million? It doesn't work like that. We see what energies govern in certain situations, certain goals, and you will learn what pathways will lead you to that ultimate place of peace. So yeah, you will make money. You may not be a millionaire, but whatever it is that you do, you're going to find ultimate peace, where you're going to be just as happier, if not happier, than that millionaire. So that's the goal of trying to find who and what you truly are, living that thing, because that's where you find that peace, and you get rid of all that longing and wanting, feeling like you're not good enough for something, living up to some illusion again of what you think you should be. So that, was what really resonated with me. The dragonfly, the medicine of the dragonfly. Do you have anything else to share before we close out?
No, that's all I had. I mean, we touched it. It's just that, stop chasing, don't go chasing waterfalls. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what that is. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Exactly.
I had to do it. I had to. It was just right there.
Yeah, I heard it coming. I was like, oh.
You knew it was coming? You knew it was coming.
Look out the song. But that's why we need you here every single week. They missed you last week because I don't do any singing or dancing. So.
Okay, you didn't tell them about chasing waterfalls. All right, I got it.
Yeah, I'm straightforward when I come on. But again, I forgot to mention. I keep forgetting. Okay, this is a live broadcast. All of the shows are live, so that means that you can participate. So again, if you are listening to the show, watching as well, there is a button that you can press. It's a Q&A button, because the link that I share is for the actual Hangout, so that you can participate in the Q&A. So basically, you press on that button, you can type in your question, and we can answer it. So it's similar to Blog Talk in a way where we would take time to go to the chat room and read your questions and answer them on air. So it's the same thing here. You can type in your question, and then we'll read it, of course, and then me and Brother Damon will answer your questions. So it allows you to, again, participate. So you won't feel that you're missing out as we transition off of Blog Talk. So you could still participate and submit your questions as long as you are at this link. If you're on the mobile phone, it may be a little different. Just play around with it a little bit, but definitely works. It's a blue and white. It's a white box. You click on the box, you see Q&A. Just press that, type in your question, it'll pop up for us, and then we'll answer it. So I know I'm mentioning this a little late, but next time and on all of the shows coming this week, you can ask that, or the strong, I'm sorry, you can ask your questions that way. So on Wednesdays, you have Anu Asafo with Sister Kim. On Thursdays and Fridays, you have Underground Thursdays, Foundation Fridays with Chief. Those are also live shows now. So again, before they weren't, they are all live. So that means just submit your questions. As well as, of course, She Speaks is always live. So that's always accessible as well as through Blog Talk. So thank you all for joining us. And it was a fun show. So I look forward to speaking to you all next week. So have a good evening, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.